After the whole house was reassembled here, all this began to arrive.
It's like a pickpocket's nightmare.
There are 3 cellars beyond this, all just as full.
The Van der Lakens must have collected art by the yard. He did make some lucky buys. Not this one.
By the way, Mr. Prentice, I suppose you'll allow me to help.
See, Dr. Beasley, I don't think we dare try it without you. No.
Thank you. This is Hannibal, my favorite Mauser. We need him down here. You're not afraid of mice, I hope.
I hope there's nothing larger.
Well, where can we work? There's a table here. Ooh, look at the size of that chandelier. That's a monstrosity.
And always in the way. The Van der Lakens had it for generations. I never could discard it.
How do you discard that much iron? Well, it's a good place to work. Jan, go get one of the guards to help us move it.
Yes, sir.
It's a beautiful monstrosity. Catalog number 456. Jeweled Renaissance type seal. Worth about, what's the matter?
No, it's cellar.
About $150.
Well, has anyone found the left fist of David?
We might, Dr. Peasley. Anything is possible here.
Even so far-fetched a thing as the left fist of David? Perhaps even the hand of King David?
Number 457. Now, here is a sculpture. Donatello. A Donatello? Beautiful, huh? Yes, if it's genuine, we've made a very important discovery. What do you mean, if it's genuine? Considering that Donatello never worked in this kind of marble... Well, that's small detail. You have to admit it's a work of a genius. Yes, a genius who would have spent half his life in prison if I hadn't persuaded him to reform.
Look!
Peasley. Peasley! What is that? What did you just put in that glass?
Mr. Prentice, you just made me lose count.
You count the drops? So many drops for 1 murder and so many for 3? How many did you put in our coffee cream?
None.
You're a liar. You never expected to see us alive again, but Hannibal cheated you, didn't he? Hannibal got to it first. You poisoned the cream in our coffee and killed the cat. And now you're going to tell me why, Dr. Peasley. Now you're going to tell me why.
Mr. Prentice, I should hate to think my little practical joke at the gallery had made you so suspicious, so easily upset. Now, will you release my friend, or must I call one of the guards?
Look, I'm in charge of this collection, and I don't want anyone to have the run of this house.
I invited him to lunch. But to be perfectly candid about it, Mr. Prentice, I'd rather have him here than...
Mr. Prentice, I think you're a highly emotional fellow. How do you know that Hannibal the cat didn't pick up some poison earlier in the day and then just happened to die after drinking that cream?
Was he here when you filled that cream pitcher?
Mr. Prentice, I only hope the trustees won't realize too late that as curator for 3 years, I'm amply qualified to catalog the collection alone.
Dr. Peasley, I think I'm beginning to understand. Mr. Prentice is the typical collector, so intent upon acquiring a certain object that all normal matters seem disproportionate to him.
But to carry on so over a delusion about the left fist of David...
I was afraid we might take it from him. The glory of discovery, if not the fist itself.
It doesn't exist, Cap.
Prentice thinks it does, just as he thinks that I'm a professional thief, and that you're so disgruntled about being passed over by the trustees that you're capable of murder. He hasn't yet accused us of being accomplices, but that idea may occur to him soon.
Believe me, it already has.
And may I suggest, Mr. Prentice, that your own actions are somewhat peculiar? If there's a poisoner among us, attacking Dr. Peasley in a fit of temper will prove nothing. Why don't you call the police?
No. You can't do that. We never have outsiders here. When there's trouble, we settle it ourselves. It's Vanderlocken policy. No police, no outsiders.
This time you don't have much of a choice, do you? And I'm sure Mr. Hager won't mind handing over that tumbler and its contents.
A toast, Mr. Prentice. To the left fist of David.
My daily vitamins. Hardly harmful, Mr. Predison. Vitamins.
That still doesn't explain what happened to that cat.
Ah, yes, the cat. It was a cat that set you off, wasn't it? I suggest you call the police to investigate the death of the cat. Perhaps we should have an autopsy, eh? Ah.
Must have been a sleeping drug.
I'd invite you to join us. I assure you there's nothing lethal in this stew. It just isn't enough. Unlike the left fist of David, which I understand should be sufficient for many.
Let's get back to our work.
Mr. Prentice, one moment. Well, there's a question we might do well to consider. If Hannibal really was drugged, why a drug instead of a poison? On the face of it, that would seem to be a fairly pointless action.
Unless somebody knows you like I do. With this kind of a subtle hint, reminder that next time it's the real thing.
Partner, it's a comfort for me to know that you do understand.
That's all right. It's all right. I don't like him either. We could only catch these two characters in the act of stealing them, then we would get rid of them. You see, there is a possibility, let's face it, that there is no such thing as a left fist of David. Suppose we go through the last item and he doesn't turn up.
Hager would never believe it.
That's it, he wouldn't. He would think that we took it, and then you would see a maniac. I tell you, a homicidal maniac.
Then let's find it, Mr. Munsey. Let's find it immediately.
Yes, immediately.
Well, why not? That would solve the entire situation.
Oh, I know what you're thinking. As soon as we find it,
Those two would carry it off, and then we'd have caught them in the act, and then we'd have something for the police.
Mr. Prentice, how can we find something if we can't even describe it?
Mr. Munsey, the House Apprentice is singularly fortunate. It employs a man who is not only a remarkable antiquarian, but who could have been a very great painter had he chosen that path. Even perhaps, Mr. Munsey, a master sculptor.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Now, look. No one has seen the left fist of David. No one can describe it.
No.
We agree that it might be anything at all.
Anything at all.
So?
Oh, you